Overnight, in a push to end the war in Ukraine, President Trump ordering his special envoy to Moscow to meet Vladimir Putin. Steve Witkoff will travel to Russia to present the latest draft of a peace plan.
They're going to be meeting with President Putin, I believe, next week in Moscow.
But this morning, Witkoff facing controversy, accused of coaching a top Kremlin aide on how to appeal to President Trump by employing flattery. A report from Bloomberg, but not verified by ABC News, says it's heard a recording of a phone call between Witkoff and Putin's top foreign policy aide, Yuri Ushakov. It alleges Witkoff also suggested that Russia proposes a 20-point peace plan, saying, I know what it's going to take to get a peace deal done, Donetsk and maybe a land swap somewhere. Weeks later, the president pressing Ukraine to accept a 28-point plan, which heavily favoured the Russians. This morning, Ushakov telling a Russian reporter, I speak with Witkoff quite often, but I don't comment on the substance of our conversations because they're confidential. While not denying whether the report's accurate, Ushakov was asked who'd leaked it, saying, I don't know. Someone is leaking them, someone is listening in, but it's not us. When asked if he'd seen the reports, Trump brushed off any questions about Witkoff.
No, but that's a standard thing, because he's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia. That's what a deal maker does.
Bloomberg now publishing a second call, saying it's between Ushakov and another key Russian negotiator, Kirill Dmitriev, who's also working with Witkoff. It suggests the Russians were actively seeking to ensure the Americans simply take on Russia's plan for ending the war. While diplomacy moves forward, the war grinds on. Russian officials reporting a massive attack by Ukrainian drones, seen in videos circulating online, damaging residential buildings and injuring two.
Well, a number of Republican lawmakers have charged the Trump administration with appeasing Russia, and now this morning, one Republican lawmaker calling for Witkoff to be fired. And this morning, the Kremlin clearly unhappy, saying these leaks are aimed at disrupting President Trump's peace plan.
But,
George?
Ian, these leaks do appear to confirm the initial suspicions of the Europeans and the Ukrainians that the initial plan that was put forward favors the Russians.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of finger pointing. The Russians seem to be very clearly saying it's not them. They're clearly unhappy, and they've been unusually vocal over the last 12 hours or so about this. So you have to ask the question, who else is capable of listening into a private call that comes from within the administration to the Kremlin? And people may well start to look closer to home. George?
Ian, panel, thanks very much.